kind of describes everything I do.
Yeah? Winging it?
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It's GLSmith with Drew Brereton, Northwest Vintage Guitars. And we're here today to talk about pedal boards. I mentioned before that Drew builds pedal boards. I've seen a few of them, and they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're really, all of his friends have his pedal boards. So
That's pretty true.
I retired from performing in 2000. So my career was before the explosion of pedals. I mean, we did have our share. What I have in front of me is what's left of my pedal board. It's pretty sad. And I have asked Drew to build me a pedal board. And Drew says, well, this is a process. It's going to take a while. And I said, hey, let's film it.
Okay.
So here we are. I just sat down. The most I've ever used on recording is a wah, a TS-808, and an equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
This is what has developed since I've been playing out at Cider Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy on the boosts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm putting it all in your hands, Drew. I trust you. Help me square away my pedals.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got our work cut out, I think. So, I mean, I guess the best place to start with any pedal board build, obviously, is what pedals do you want to use? And you've got options.
Yeah.
You have these that you like, but I've seen some rotate through. Like this one's rotated through. This one probably is more for home use than if you were to take it somewhere, which is fine, but it does take up a lot of space. So, you know, got to decide on what you want to use, or if you want to leave room to be able to swap things in and out, that's something to consider too. The next consideration is the actual board itself, which you've mentioned you want to stick with this board. You like the size of it, and I think you have a case for it and stuff, right?
Yeah. Is that possible?
Well, anything's possible. Yeah, no, that's just that, you know, influences what you get to put on here, how much you get to put on here, really.
Okay.
So if you want to stick with this board, then that's, you know, that decides that. And then you just have to decide what you want and what we can fit.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've got a lot of options here in front of us that
Mhm.
I have worked on, that I have been, I'm kind of partial to. And I've also got something for Drew to unbox.
Oh,
So,
the
well,
mid-video unboxing.
Yep. Well, he's unboxing that. I'm going to kind of take you down through a history of my pedals here. Heavy on the boost, transparent overdrive. Goes in right now. It's a Noble Screamer. That's been an ODR1, an 808. It's been a TS7. It's been a TS9, and numerous other overdrive pedals. Now this red box I just got, and it's fantastic. The Noble Screamer does the Tube Screamer thing, does the ODR thing, doesn't do that over-the-top Marshall distortion. This does, and it's fantastic. So I love this combination. What do we got there?
Yeah. I know exactly what this is.
Okay.
It's an Origin Effects Cali 70. Am I opening it wrong? I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a Cali 76. Perfect. Yep. Did you get this on my recommendation?
I did. So we were talking about compressors, and I had pointed out that usually, in my experience, the compression is done after the fact, just putting stuff on tracks and having engineers compress it down to thinness and dissatisfaction. But so Drew told me about this. I also read up on the Keeley version, and these are really, these have a lot of flexibility on the attack, and that's my big complaint with compressors is that you just lose your attack.
Yeah, and you lose your dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're going to try this one on the board. So that's in. Yeah. I do want it. Of course, we got to go with the tuner. It's got to have a tuner.
Yeah.
I do like my 3 stages of overdrive, and if those could be maintained as 3 stages of overdrive, I mean the pedals can change. I do have this,
the big guns,
the big gun, the Klon KTR, and you know this. It's a big pedal though for that first spot in the transparent overdrive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But these are well regarded.
Yeah.
I may have to give up my pedal board size.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have done double deckers. Yours is a double decker.
Yeah, mine has a tier, if you will.
I will.
Should we have started by showing mine?
No, that's going to be the next video.
Oh, yeah. So mine is definitely kind of a custom build. The board itself was built by a buddy of mine named Jake Hughes. He used to live in Spokane. Now lives in he's in San Diego now. Still doing boards down there, as far as I know. He taught me a lot. Almost everything I know, I learned from him. But he built the board itself and helped me a lot with learning how to lay things out, make cables and run cables and organize things.
So you make each cable?
I do soldered cables for all of the pedal board builds that I do. I buy bulk Mogami cable, and I usually use connectors from a company called Square Plugs. I use the SP400s. They're really flat pancake connectors. About the lowest profile jacks that I've been able to find that I like. They're consistent. They're great. They're easy to work with. So I make cables for all the boards that I do.
Okay.
Power cables I don't make. I just buy these, and some people will cut these down to the length they need and resolder them. I don't do that. I just tuck away the excess for the power cables. But the patch cables, the 1/4-inch cables, I'll usually make to length.
Sure.
Or, relatively to the length you
Right.
need. Sometimes it's nice to leave some excess in case you want to move things around a little bit. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I make the cables, which ends up being oftentimes the most expensive part of doing pedal boards because the materials are not cheap. It's nice stuff.
Well, it's time consuming too, and Drew's not free.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think we kind of got an overdrive footprint down. The only question I have is the size of the transparent. Right now I'm using the Tumnus.
Yeah.
As you can see, I know Drew's not a fan. I love it.
I didn't say that. Did I say that?
Oh, at one point. I don't know.
I think it's a fine pedal. I'm not a fan of Klon style pedals generally.
Oh, okay.
For myself.
Okay. And then after we get past this drive section, we've got about half the board left for the rest of it. We're kind of heavy on the drive.
Yeah, and this is big too.
That is big. And I need a tap delay. I've been playing with this one.
Yeah.
It's big, but gosh, it gives you everything. You get overtones, slicers, auto wahs, rotaries, tremolo. That's CE1 chorus in here, a flanger. It's got tap and memory.
So this is mostly for modulation though. Right? Not so much. Yeah, this is for all your modulation.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah, the delay will have to be.
See, this is the delay I've always used. Is that Ibanez L Series DDL10, no tap.
No tap.
No good. So we're getting rid of that one.
Need a tap tempo delay then.
Right. I'm going to need to get one. Any recommendations, Drew?
Oh yeah, I've got recommendations.
Let's hear it. The people are dying to hear your recommendation for a tap tempo delay.
I mean, I use the Strymon El Capistan.
Okay.
Which is their version of it's a tape delay. It's a digital tape delay. But it's got tap tempo. We'll cover the ground of like an Echoplex style.
Okay.
It's got a lot of options. That's what's on my board.
Wait, so it would take the place of this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it would do the same, have the same.
And I'm going to give a shameless plug here. TC Electronics, wonderful, affordable electronics. Not a sponsor, but this Goss Tape Echo, doing the Echoplex thing, it's pretty magic. And if you're looking for, a vintage tape echo sound, it's a pretty damn good one.
Mm-hmm. The one thing about the El Capistan, I don't believe that it has any emulation for like the preamp of a tape delay, which a lot of tape echo pedals will also.
Yeah, but we got all that
model
stuff here. Yeah. So, and then we're gonna probably put something at the end. Now, here it is.
Yeah.
This is one that I love.
C9.
Yeah, it's a C9 Electro Harmonics. I think it's the best of their organ machines. They're whatever they have the B9, the C9,
the Mel 9.
There you go.
Yeah, they have all sorts of.
But this is the best one, and there's only one setting on here I use, but I love to use it, and there's a group of people I jam with that just absolutely loves it, and it's the Lord Purple setting, number 5.
Can't imagine what that's
It's your rock and
supposed
roll
to emulate.
B3 Hammond. Yeah, it's of course, yeah, Deep
John
Purple.
Lord.
Yeah, John Lord.
Yep.
So that's got to go on the board. I know, but it's going on the board. So I know that's going to be there. We have an opening here for, I guess, El Capistan.
That's what I like.
It's about that size, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a double wide pedal, same width probably as.
Okay, and then we're looking at an origin effect out the back. Now
You're using it on the back end.
Oh,
we can talk about that.
Do you use it up front?
For me, running a compressor on the board, there's 2 main spots to do. It's before drives or after the drives.
Yeah.
I believe I run mine after the drives. Yeah, I run mine after my overdrives.
Okay, so it would be somewhere in the Capistan territory.
I mean, you can run it anywhere.
Yeah,
but I would run it before your delays and modulations.
Okay, that makes sense.
Although I have heard people running it at the end because you're emulating how a studio compression would be applied. It would be after everything else.
Right.
So I get that, but I think practically speaking, yeah, using it either just before or just after your drive section, depending on the sound you want and how you want it to react. I use it after my drives. My philosophy on that is that means my drives still get the full range of like playing dynamics, and the drives can react to that, and like volume knob adjustments and stuff on the guitar, and then the compression happens after that.
I like that.
That's my philosophy.
Yeah, and that's my big complaint. If you put it too far in front of your signal chain, it just takes away your dynamics.
That's true. I don't want to turn this into a shilling for origin effects or for the Cali 76, but I do tell everybody about this pedal because I used to hate compressors also. I had the Keeley compressor, I had a Dynacomp like everyone has had, which are perfectly fine compressors. They just weren't working for what I wanted, and it kind of killed the attack. It was one of those things where I would get the compressor set and I would be like, that sounds pretty good, and then I would turn it off and I would always think that my tone was better with it off.
Yeah.
I would get it set and sounding nice, and I would turn it off and be like, no, it still sounds better without it. But this one's got a lot of features that help with that. For one, it's got a dry blend.
Yeah, you told me about that.
So you can mix how much of the compressed signal versus the dry signal is coming through, which is, just that alone helps retain a lot of your like dynamics and attack. Anyway, that pedal's awesome. It turned me from a compressor hater into somebody who never turns it off. It's hidden under the tier of my board because I never adjust it or turn it off. It's that good. Anyway, so that's great that you have that, and the order, the order can be talked about. That stuff's easy to move things around in that order, but
then at the end I usually do some sort of EQ. I've been using the Clover. It's got a nice DI on it. What I can say about the Clover is that even though it's just a 3-band EQ, it's the right EQ for a guitar. And these EQ spots for bass, middle, and treble aren't in unusable places. Like some of them, the treble is just varying amounts of noise, but
too high.
Yeah, too high in the spectrum. And guitars aren't that high. People think that they are, but they're not that high.
It's like a presence knob more than a treble knob, kind of.
You got it. Yeah. This one works really well, but I used to use a DoD, and I've still got it. It's FX40B, I think, and it's great. It's clean. Well, it's dirty. It's filthy as hell, but it works. So anyway, little EQ at the end.
You know what I told Eric
when
I met him? He was using a Boss GE7
that
he had on all the time, an always on EQ pedal. And I told him if you have to have an EQ pedal always on, you probably just don't like the sound of your amp.
Oh,
that's what I told him. I get that EQs are great as a utility.
He's not still using that amp, is he?
He's not still using the amp or the EQ pedal. So whatever that tells you, he's now the proud owner of 2 amps that used to be mine. Anyway, We love Eric.
We do, and you guys have seen Eric on here before on the 5 questions. Now I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm old, so I love Woz, and this is a Fossil Crybaby. It sounds a lot better than my Thomas Organ one.
Okay.
And I want some and it does not have a string.
No string.
No string.
Yeah, that's good. Classic.
So I can see already the writings on the wall.
Yeah.
We're out of room.
And even if we weren't out of room, how do you fit a Crybaby on a board like this? It sticks out at both ends, no matter how you do it. That's my biggest problem with the Crybaby. They sound great. Obviously, they're the classic, but a little hard to fit on boards. You know, they add a lot of weight.
Anybody who's watched the last video unboxing we did, we had the Tone Lock series Ibanez WH10. I have not had a chance to plug it in, so I'll give this a whirl, see if it's going to work.
But it might fit a little better, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, jacks might stick out the top, but that's okay.
That's okay. It goes in a soft case, so it's got a little flexibility.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I think we got kind of a layout of this is what I use. In fact, I don't even really use delay and chorus unless we're playing something that demands it.
Who needs it?
Who needs that shit anyway? Yeah.
My fancy Strymon delay 90% of the time gets used for a slapback.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. And one last thing, I know we didn't talk about it, but
no, that's a good thing to talk about. Okay. I believe this was my recommendation also, right?
Yes.
So power supply for the pedal board is, it's like the heart of your pedal board or whatever you want to call it. You've been using this one?
We were having problems.
Yeah, because you would hook it up to something like the C9 or that Boss modulation pedal, and it would be all sorts of noisy. You thought there was something wrong with the pedal.
Yeah, I was ready to take it to the tech.
Right. A lot of these power supplies are kind of, they're not isolated. In a proper power supply, every output is isolated. The old ones were transformer isolated. These ones are, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how the technology works. I don't claim to, but each output is properly isolated, which means that you don't get noise with your digital pedals like you would from chaining the power.
Like a daisy chain.
Daisy chain, yeah.
Like an extension cord with outlets.
The one spot adapter is a really popular one. These a lot of times are kind of glorified daisy chains. Like internally, they're daisy chain.
Sure.
So
I do see on here where it says that it's got a zero noise hybrid DC transformer design. So it's still a transformer they're using for that.
Yep. Yeah, I know that they they changed the type of transformer they were using. These newer ones are switch mode power supplies or something. I don't know. Again, I don't really know how the technology works. I will say that the Pedal Power 3 Plus is what I use on my board, and it's been great. The Pedal Power 2 was the classic for a long time, but this one, like I said, has the updated technology. It's even lower noise. Sometimes with the older ones, you'd get problems if you had to like put a pedal on top or right next to your power supply. That could introduce noise.
I have had that problem.
These don't even have
with
that
that
issue.
Power supply.
These are great, and this is it is obviously noticeably bigger than that one, but each one of these outputs can give 500 milliamps, which is plenty for almost any pedal. It's got switchable 12 volt, 9 volt on a couple of them. You can expand it. They have little expansions you can buy for it that plug into it, and you can run a couple of those. It's lightweight, it's compact, it's been nothing but reliable for me. I don't know.
And you use it all the time.
Yeah, mine's been used and abused. There's a couple others that are great. Strymon makes a great one. There's a company called Chalks that makes great power supplies. There's a lot of True Tone makes great power supplies, but this is the one I use.
Okay, and that's why I bought it. You recommended it?
Yeah, plenty of outputs for what you're doing. I think it's got 10 normal outputs and 2 more that are switchable. So I don't think you're going to be running more than 12 pedals.
And there's a 12 volt.
Yeah, these 2 on the end.
Dedicated 12.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So these 2 are switchable, 9 or 12. These 2 12 volt 1 amp are intended for the little expansions. Yeah.
Okay.
They
Cool.
sell these little like 4 output expansions. Anyway,
All right.
great power supply is necessary for a great board, I think.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing like, if you're like only using overdrive pedals, you can get away with a daisy chain.
You know, when I retired in 2000, it was all batteries. I did not have a power supply. In fact, the Crybaby that I used did not have a 12. You had to put a battery in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm learning fast, and it's awesome to have Drew here. He's been through it all, so I don't have to go through any more trials and errors than I've done so far. And this has kind of been bare minimum acceptable, but that power supply has been a problem. So I think we got kind of a layout. We've talked about it. I think everybody's probably looking on saying, yeah, that board's too small. Right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So
we'll figure something out though.
Yeah, but I think we got a good start. We've got some good components. We're going to need to get a delay in here, a tap delay. And that's it. So that's the start for the pedalboard build part 1 with Drew Brereton. And I do want to remind you folks, Drew's in a few bands.
You play in a few bands.
He does play in a few bands. So we've done links before to the Bedheads. We've done links before to Brittany's house. But down below, we're going to put a link to Vika and The Velvets.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of Drew's projects. Yep. Shout out to
Vika. I do have to say I'm technically not in the band, but I do play with them quite a bit. Their bass player lives out of town.
Yeah, but you play with them more than he does.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I think they like you better. No, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. No. I don't know.
No, their bass player is great.
So yeah, Eric is in that band.
Yep.
Playing a wonderful custom shop Cold Top.
Yeah.
Yep. Aged by Northwest Vintage Guitars.
That's true,
and Drew is playing a Rickenbacker bass. That's a Sunburst 4003 or something.
It's a Ruby. It's just a red finish.
Oh, okay. All right.
Not
yeah.
the burst.
But it's a great video. Click on that link down below. It's an advertisement for Spokane Teachers Credit Union.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Commercial, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Corner Booth Media.
Cool.
So that's part 1. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to say goodbye, and we'll be back with part 2. See ya.
See ya. Don't get me